Okay, this is a video I've been meaning to make for a long time. Ever since kind of I discovered that Hinderer Knives were one of my favorite brands made in the USA in terms of their combination ability to cut, be tough, easy to use. This particular one is the XM18 Slippy. It's essentially just like a 3-inch XM18, but it's just a slip joint. So it utilizes nothing but a back spring back here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into fairly fast mode where I'm going to just intercut all of these. But one of the things that I did want to address is the spine whack. The spine whack, is it a valid test? It's a check against will the lock disengage. This is not a locking knife, by the way. And so that's why I'm kind of comically starting with the Slippy because it doesn't lock. If you are in such a province that doesn't allow you to have a locking knife, this might be an acceptable use one in terms of it's pretty solid. Definitely, can beat on a little bit more than your typical slip joint. But we will go ahead and start with this. And I'm going to basically update or show my 2025 collection of Hinderer knives, which is pretty extensive these days. This is not to brag or anything or flex. It's just, I was like, you know what? You might as well get a showing of the knives as well as a spine whack of every single one. So you can see 3 kind of whacks is what I'm going to do on each one. A slip joint is always going to open up, and we'll go ahead and jump into them now. First one is the Maximus. This is basically a dagger or, not dagger, what the heck's it called? Bayonet, sorry. It's a dagger, but it's a bayonet because this part up here is not sharpened. This is one that I do suspect is going to probably burst. Yep. Yeah, all 3 on a spine whack. And that really doesn't surprise me, principally because at the lock here, it's kind of one of the thinner ones in terms of a Hinderer knife. So yeah, the Maximus, I'm not going to call it a fail because, like I said, this is a test. But just keep in mind, you're going to always be holding a knife on the handle, which is going to put lock bar pressure. It's not going to come undone unless some unique situation comes up where you're pulling up and you release pressure on your hand. Maximus, fail. XM18 3-inch Skinner blade. All right, 3 whacks. Yep, 1. The second one did not, but this one also doesn't entirely surprise me, just being the smaller knife. It does tend to have a little bit lighter detent. Actually, detent wouldn't matter. Sorry. It's really more to do with the lock bar interface, just being literally less distance there. And again, yeah, not a huge surprise on there. So the XM18 3-inch Skinner, fail. Hinderer half track, flipper only, no multiple deployment. This is the Harpoon Spanto blade. Love this knife. Let's go ahead and see how it does with 3 whacks. So this one holds up pretty good. Half track, succeed. I do have another 3-inch, a non-flipper. This is a slicer grind. We all know what's going to happen here. Yeah, 1. Well, interesting. It did sustain. It sustained on some. It was a little bit better than the 3.5-inch Skinner, which I would especially expect this one to maybe even be a little bit less so. It possibly just has to do with how much engagement there is on the lock bar there. So this is also, in the end, a fail. Eclipse. This one's been bronzed out. This is the Bowie blade. Let's give it a go. It's a beautiful blade, isn't it? Yeah, much better. All right, the Eclipse. How do you do? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that one actually chipped off some wood. So the Eclipse is a definite succeed. This is the MP1. Kind of a unique one. Has a sheep's foot blade. This is a full tie. This one's out of production for the most part, but he did incorporate a lot of this stuff like the HMBS into other models like the Jurassic, the Project X. All has these capabilities. So this one runs on washers. This is not tri-way anything, but let's go ahead and give it a go. 3 strong hits, definitely the MP1 succeed. All right, time for the Jurassic. This one is it's kind of like a 3¼ inch blade, very much in terms of the blade. It does represent kind of in between an XM18 3" and a 3½ inch. 3¼ is this one, but it does kind of have this big humpback here. Let's go ahead and give it a go. I do like this in the saber position, saber grip, but it's not the best in a full hammer grip, just because of that big humpback there. Let's see how she does. 3 hits, succeed. All right, we enter into the XM18s, full size, harpoon spanto. This is the XM18 skinny. So yeah, skinnier blade, skinnier, actually I don't know what the scales are or not, but definitely a little bit thinner blade, much easier to carry. Love this one. I've replaced this one, the scale here with the Sharp by Design, oh gosh, or no, Sharp Dressed Knives, not Sharp by Design, Sharp Dressed Knives, and this is the copper snakeskin carbon fiber. So yeah, I kind of love that one. Also has bronzed out hardware. Let's give it a go. 3 whacks, and the XM18 skinny passes. All right, XM18. This is a spear point. I have swapped this one out to phosphor bronze washers. That last one was actually on bearings. So yeah, this one is swapped again. That shouldn't make much of a difference. It's really going to come down to lock face. Let's go ahead and see how this one does. Yeah, 3 whacks, and the XM18 standard on washers with spear point passes. XM18 no choil, slice or grind. Let's go ahead and see how it does. 3 whacks. Ooh, we're even busting there into there. Pass. Okay, my final XM18 is my most recent purchase. Haven't purchased one in a while. This is the non-flipper, which they do loosen up the lock bar tension, just because it doesn't have a flipper, and to kind of release the detent there, or make it a little bit easier for thumb studs only. You can definitely do this one with a backside flip. It's fantastic. But I do find that of all the XM18s, this is possibly the one that will fail the test. Oh, I love that. All right, here we go. So 3 hits and it passes. All right, the Bad Daddy. XM24, I call it the XM27, with the skulls, titanium scale placed on it. It isn't a titanium add-on. It's not just a full replacement. Got this one from GD Skulls on Etsy. Love this one. Harpoon Spanto, blacked out or whatever, battle black. It's fantastic. I actually have to, at some point in time, if I'm actually going to carry this, move this to washers, because it does tend to be a guillotine. It will definitely chop a chop a chunk of a finger off there. So let's go ahead and see how it does with the whack. Pass. All right, my very favorite, I think the best Hinderer knife at this point in time. This is the Sawtooth Dave modified, or Barefoot Bruisers modified, with his scale on it. Full tie. It's got an orange peel. Awesome titanium. He also has done the thumb stud mod on this one. That was kind of the only problem that I had with this knife, is just that it was flipper only, and it just demanded the thumb studs. So yeah, this is just absolutely awesome as the Project X. Let's see how it does for spine whack. I've actually not ever spine whacked this one, so I don't even know what it's going to do. Oh, whoa, okay. Well, it's a good thing our finger was out of there. Yeah, that was actually kind of a surprise. I thought that this would share more or less the DNA of the XM18s, and none of those did collapse. But we'll go ahead and do it a second time. You know what? I'll go ahead and flick it open with the thumb studs, and we'll just see if that lock bar interface, yeah, definitely. The Project X in that context was maybe the biggest surprise disappointment there. It does have a pretty decent amount of lockup there. It goes to the steel interface. And yeah, I have no problem using it. Like I said, well, I'll come back and talk about these in just a second. All right, concluding thoughts. Well, first of all, I whacked them pretty decent. Not like you're ever going to be in a situation. Yeah, I destroyed my board there. No big deal. Been meaning to make this video for a year. In short, these are the failing knives. You know, you saw it. I didn't know which ones were. I had some suspicions. The surprise to me was, in fact, the Project X. The fact that that one slipped off and seemed to slip off the easiest, even more so than these others. The Maximus didn't entirely surprise me, just because it was a fairly thin piece of titanium there, front siding with basically the lock bar, front siding with the tang of the blade. So that one wasn't a huge surprise. The 3 inches as well didn't surprise me, either the flipper or the other one, just because, again, smaller, lighter detent. Especially this one, I kind of fully expected this one was going to fail the spine whack. So definitely kind of expected, but the Project X here, I definitely think was a pretty big surprise to me. I did full carry on this one, have done several carries, and I still have no problem with it. Like I said, frame lock, you're basically building in pressure on that. It's not likely to go, but you know, take it for what it is. In terms of my perspective on why this isn't something that I fret super hard about, is because if I ever need to do something where I'm going to have to whack on a blade, I'm just going to use a fixed blade. This right here is the SC Zancudo. I'll go ahead and link the review of that. You're never going to get this one to fail. If you're in such a situation where you're doing something that needs to be, you know, put back pressure on it, or you think you're going to be coming up, just use a fixed blade. In all honesty, that was the whole thing I thought of when I saw all the spine whacking going on. It was just spine whacking, not whacking off. And so yeah, I just use a fixed blade if you're going to be in such a situation as that. I understand there are certain circumstances where you may not know you're piercing something or putting pressure, and you might have to pull up. I just have never experienced that in my life. So use a fixed blade where you're in such a situation like that. But otherwise, as an everyday carry, you know what? I have no problems with any Hinderer knives. Hope this was of use. If not interesting, I appreciate the like and subscribe. Have a great day. Take care now. Okay, this is a video video